A statement made in the big house. Texas 31, Michigan 12. What does this say now about Texas? Michigan, we're going to talk about them on this channel in a little bit. So check out this channel. There's a lot on here, college football, just everything that you know and love about this sport happens right here. Make sure you are subscribed. Texas fans, Michigan fans, whoever you support, dial in right here. We appreciate you for that, for being subscribed. But I'll tell you what, man, Texas, I said it on a social media post yesterday. To me, they just verified everything that we sort of already thought was true about them, but actually to put it into practice, to see it with our own two eyes against a good football team in Michigan on the road, said a lot. Said a lot, and I think verified exactly what we believe about Texas in 2024. They took control from the jump. There was no catching them. And we said that during our prediction video. Whoever was able to get leverage in this game first was going to have a massive upper hand in setting the tempo. And y'all, to be real, even if Michigan were to get up to like a 7-point lead somehow, or heck, call it a 10-point lead, I don't think anybody was stopping that Texas offense yesterday. Like, Sark was emphatically in his Duffy. He had it all working. My question was, okay, well, are they going to be able to run the football against that good front of Michigan? Because there's some NFL draft picks on the defensive line over there now with a Mason Graham and a Kenneth Grant, and y'all, it didn't matter. What I saw Texas do yesterday, actually, they came out swinging in the pass game. Which one, you say, okay, Steve Sarkisian's playing chess. He's a step ahead. That's the first part. The other part is Texas against what I would consider to be a pretty solid Michigan secondary. Will Johnson's probably the best corner in college football. They went right at him. They liked their matchups. They attacked those matchups. And looking at Quinn Ewers and his stat line, looking at what those wide receivers did against that Michigan secondary, they won those matchups. Okay, so that was the first part of this. They were a step ahead all game long. Like I said, Sark called a masterclass, totally controlled the tempo of this football game. And what I think you saw consistently now, the reason why I believe Sark was so on it yesterday, was you saw this Michigan Wolverine defense just consistently out of position. And that's not saying anything about Michigan. Wink Martindale is an NFL defensive coordinator. And Sark, from what I could tell, just took him out to the woodshed. What you saw a lot was Steve Sarkisian giving Quinn Ewers options throughout the course of this game. Like, consistently, you saw the Michigan defense cut in half. You saw the RPO, whether it was a perimeter pass on the right side, then it was another pass to the left side, or it was a toss to the left, whatever it was, like, consistently, the Michigan defense was going in two different directions. And when that happened, Texas had numbers. They were able to get north and south, and quite frankly, they were able to out-physical Michigan. Like, that was one thing that I think was worth noting throughout the course of this game. Yes, Steve Sarkisian called a great game. Yes, Quinn Ewers absolutely was, he looked like a third-year quarterback in that system, which is exactly what he is. But you got to give a lot of credit to Texas now for beating Michigan at their own game. Like, when it was Texas out in space or it was Texas going downhill, like, they were the enforcer. That's not something we've seen very frequently from this Michigan football team. And it's not something that I think we'll see from them very frequently going forward either. Like, I think what you saw from Texas yesterday was very real. Now, Quinn Ewers, like I said, the dividends of a third-year starting quarterback, he just looked like the point guard out there to me yesterday. Like, he was controlling the entire tempo of what was going on within that football game. They want to bring pressure. He steps up, no panic, just kind of takes it where he wants to go, distributes the football, pushes it downfield. Like, everything that he wanted yesterday, he controlled it, and he delivered with poise, with accuracy, 246 yards on the day, 3 touchdowns. Michigan had no answers. Like, Michigan was not able to match the expertise of what Quinn Ewers was bringing to the table. Okay, I think he showed a lot. And I think also you saw the experience this team's had in big spots now pay off in a big way. Because I'm not saying everybody on this roster was in Tuscaloosa this time last year, but like Quinn Ewers was, Steve Sarkisian was, 4 of those 5 offensive linemen were, some of those key players on that defense were. And so I think you saw this team walk into, the defending national championship's crib, take over, and look pretty comfortable doing it. There would have been a lot of understanding if Texas had walked in there and the moment was big and they were maybe feeling a little bit like they weren't totally able to fire on all cylinders from the jump. But like with the experience they've had, that wasn't something we saw from them. There was no acclimation period. That first drive, I don't know how many third downs they converted, but it was several. They had zero flinch in those big moments when the big house was engaged, and they were engaged early on and maybe a little bit less so as the game wore on, but it is what it is. Going back to what I said about Texas out-physicaling Michigan. On both lines of scrimmage, if you weren't calling it a knockout, which if you did, I mean, more power to you, but if you weren't calling it a knockout and this thing were to go to a judge's decision, every single judge would say Texas by decision. Like Michigan, who do they want to be? Smash mouth, run the football, get downhill. Ran for 80-ish yards on the day. You do that as a Texas defense, you're going to be in real good shape. Real good shape. Now, I think a lot of folks are going to say after this game, well, Michigan just must be bad. The thing I would concede there is like, hey, the Michigan offense, they got some things to figure out. Like, they got to look in the mirror here. There's a whole other talking point we'll do on Michigan and their offense in a Michigan-centric video reacting to this game on this channel. So, again, subscribe. But like you talk about that defense, there's multiple NFL draft picks on that side of the football. And not just guys that'll like make a roster. Like there's multiple guys that I believe will go in the first round, if not the first 3 rounds of next year's NFL draft. On the line of scrimmage, in the secondary, like that wasn't just some slappy Michigan outfit that rolled out there that was the remnants of a national title team. They lost a lot. There's no way around it. But to say that that Michigan defense isn't a good filter to run yourself through if you're Texas, we're kidding ourselves. Again, what we saw from Texas yesterday, to me, just puts a blue check mark next to everything that we sort of already thought we knew about Texas. We sort of thought we knew they were experienced, that would pay off in some capacity. We knew Quinn Ewers was good. He'd been in the system for a long time. We thought that would pay off. We knew they were talented on the perimeter. We weren't sure how those new portal pieces would acclimate in a big spot like this. Steve Sarkisian, you give him the ingredients, he cooks. We knew Steve Sarkisian was a good offensive mind, but what about when he plays someone who has been at the NFL level as a DC and had a lot of success there? Wink Martindale, again, Steve Sarkisian was ahead of him the entire game, and it showed. Texas, we sort of thought they might be a contender for a national championship. This game, if that doesn't stamp them as a contender, I don't know what does. Okay? From a macro level now, zooming out from just this game and just this season, Steve Sarkisian deserves a ton of credit for the way that he's put together this roster. And I'm not just talking about what they've done on the recruiting trail. I'm talking about how they've replenished this roster over the course of this last portal season. Because last year's squad, what did we say? Hey, they lost some key guys up front. Hey, they lost some key guys on the perimeter. They lost some draft picks on the perimeter. They lost a draft pick at running back. They lost some guys due to injury at running back. All Texas did was go out there, forced the issue with Michigan. Guys on the perimeter won their battles. Isaiah Bond, Matthew Golden, Ryan Wingo had a nice run that almost went the distance. That defense, again, held Michigan to 80-ish rushing yards, consistently had them on their heels. Steve Sarkisian is not just a great offensive mind, not just a good play caller. Steve Sarkisian is a roster builder, and we're seeing the dividends. We're seeing the proof in the pudding right now at Texas. We saw it in this game. Because if Texas wasn't able to hit the reset button on what happened last year, you lost 2 All-American defensive tackles and you lost 3 draft picks at wide receiver. If they weren't able to hit the reset button, we would have seen it in this game. We would have seen it against a good Michigan outfit. Now, how good is Michigan going to be over the course of this season remains to be seen, but you cannot convince me that defense isn't going to be a problem for a lot of other teams this year. I don't think we'll see that many more teams hang 30 on Michigan. I'll just put it that way. But overall, man, Texas, give them the blue check mark, verified contender. Very excited to see what they become. But Steve Sarkisian, the way that he's put in the work in Austin, when there was a lot of external noise and people saying after they went 5-7, well, what are they going to be? And Texas is this, Texas is that. Texas is here. All right, Texas, we've said it for a while now. They've arrived. Yesterday was yet another example of why they've arrived and another example, a verification, if you will, of them being a national title contender. Book it. Appreciate y'all being subscribed. Make sure you're locked in here. Follow me on the socials at JD Piquel, Instagram and Twitter. Let me know what you thought of yesterday's game. We love y'all. We appreciate y'all. Going to keep this party rolling, and we will see y'all next time. Hey, y'all. Thanks so much for watching. Subscribe to the channel here to make sure you don't miss an episode of The Hard Count. Also, be sure to check out other videos on the On3 YouTube channel.